Growing up in school, we were all sold the same lie that the United States was the greatest country on earth. A notion that seemed silly even then, something to tell one another to build national pride, the history lessons curated with care, only showing our best parts to reinforce this idea that everyone is equal. It wasn't until high school that many of us learned that the rose-colored lies we were sold weren't right or true. But make no mistake about it, this nation was built on hatred and lies and wrapped in the red, white, and blue. The discovery of this land was immediately followed by a genocide of the native people that had been here since time immemorial. Instead of teaching our children the horrors that happened, we celebrate the curator of this mass murder, telling ourselves that kids are too young to know what happened. This false protection is a disservice to our children and to those who died, the cost of hatred adding up over time. The official founding of this country started the Revolutionary War, the Declaration of Independence boldly proclaiming that all men are created equal, the fine print knowing that this is only for the men of European descent, because these men had slaves, you see, and slaves shouldn't be considered a whole person when 3/5 would do. Women, too, were little more than property, confined to whatever life they found themselves in. The 1800s saw westward expansion while tribal lands were stolen and the people were forced to march on the Trail of Tears away from their ancestral home to a new plot of land, shedding more blood while being fed more lies. The Civil War saw North versus South in a war of culture, economics, and state rights. Our own countrymen fought and died on the principle that they should be able to own another person in order to enrich themselves and defend the ridiculous notion that white skin reigned supreme. The stars and bars boldly declaring their message. Hatred did not win in the end, but Reconstruction did not go far enough to rebuild this nation strong enough for those with black or brown skin. It's human nature to notice differences between each other, and yes, everyone does it, but implicit biases aside, to hate based on skin color, religion, or race is American heritage, and to insinuate anything else is a lie. A bright spot in our history saw RGIs fighting fascism in Europe only to discover another genocide. We know what happened because it was documented with photos and video and first-hand testimony. To guarantee the world knew what happened. Never again, they declared, teaching their children and each generation after. But never say never, they say, because never is an awfully long time. The civil rights movement was built on peaceful protest. And time again, our country did not miss the opportunity to show just how strong our hatred can be. For even these leaders of peace were assassinated for daring to want to be treated as an equal while getting to have a seat at the table. And for a time, actual progress appeared to be made. Laws were passed to ensure that equal treatment for work, housing, school, and voting. Racism, while present, wasn't popular, but it was always present. Now here we are, the last 10 years has been a backslide with an ever-deepening divide. Our president declaring he wants to make America great again, all while fanning and stoking the embers of hate. We now have the loudest among us cheering as our government sends uniformed masked men to hunt for people declared illegal for the country they were born and the color of their skin. This unnecessary terror and violence underscoring that unless you're white, this regime wants you out. But skin color never bothered the best among us. And these so-called illegals are our community members, neighbors, friends, and family. As we're starting to see, the divide just isn't black and white, left versus right. Their hand has been shown. Their campaign of hatred is for everyone who won't conform, hate, or back down. United we stand, or divided we fall, as they say. What will be left when the dust settles this time? Will we recognize ourselves as individuals or as a nation? How do we meet this moment to overcome what has been done? Will we again lie about what happened to make ourselves feel less guilty? Or will we face it head on, acknowledging that we were and have been so very wrong? What will be the final cost of hatred before we decide enough is enough?